that are going to shine. So I'm not really worried about his mobility more than anything else. It's literally getting a person in that position who can receive the ball from the back line and give it to the front line and is press resistant as well. He doesn't really need to be a leggy player. It doesn't need to be a Rashford or whoever it is, as long as he knows what he needs to do and what his job is. Rodri is not particularly fast, and you guys are doing okay. So I don't see that being a big problem.
The age profile doesn't matter at all. 30 is the new 20 or whatever it is. Like, yeah, and if you actually go ahead and watch his games, he is positionally sound, which is a great point. Sorry, what was your name? I'm trying to meet.
One Tally, bro.
One Tally. We were just talking backstage actually a little bit.
Yeah.
No, positional sense is everything. And he's going to come in here with banks of experience. Now, my biggest concern is the fact that, does this mean that we're not playing a double pivot, which is what Ten Hag wants to do? Are we going to play with 1-6 and 2-8s? Now, that's fine by me. But now we're starting to ask questions of, was Ten Hag backed? Now, we all have our own concerns as United fans, because it looks like he might have given them a list that they weren't able to fulfill and get him the players he wanted. Now it's up to him to be a problem solver. Does he bring in Casemiro, which let's face it, even if he wasn't the player that Ten Hag wanted initially, you basically you put down your short list and you say, we can't get this, but we can get you one of the best DMs in world football over the past decade. You can't say no to it. So I'm more interested in seeing what Ten Hag actually does rather than the signing of the player. We can talk about salary, age, and all that, but I don't think any of those really apply when, like Tali said, we just got a player who fits into that Carrick mold. Not as good of a passer, but he's competent on the ball and he scans and he's always positionally sound. So, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like it's not only the two United fans that are agreeing. Master 20 says this is a very good signing for United. Okay, cool. What about you? What about you, Hugo? What do you think? Do you think the two United lads are right that this guy, doesn't matter if he's on 400k, coming on 400k a week? It doesn't matter if he's been bought for 70 million. It's a matter of how good the player is.
He's not on 400k a week. Come on now.
How
do you know
that's what's been reported by Fab.
By
so
who?
I'm going off Fab.
Fab didn't even say that. Fab didn't say his salary didn't get. He said his salary is not getting doubled. Obviously, it's a longer term contract. I believe it's just a little bit more, but it's a longer term contract. That's what attracted him because he's 30. You know what I mean? So I don't think.
Wait, you didn't see 4K.
No,
I saw 4,000.
It's not 400k. It's probably under 400k, but it's not 400k. It's not gonna be. Come on now, it's ridiculous.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Hugo. Just type in the private message. We can't hear you. No. Try coming out and coming back in. Coming out off and coming back in. What about yourself, Kundo? You've been very quiet. What do you think of this Casemiro signing? Do you think this is the right direction for Mr. Erik ten Hag, who both you and me rate as a manager, and we wanted at City at a point in time? If maybe Pep left.
The reality is he has no choice, right? I remember last week there was a guy from United who was arguing with me about Frankie de Jong, and I told him Frankie de Jong was not going to United. He asked me, he said, I told him 100%. And he was still arguing with me. Can you hear me?
I don't know about that one, though, but go on.
Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, and I said that Frankie's not going to United. He's just not going to United.
Why?
Why? Because Frankie de Jong loves Barcelona. Because Frankie de Jong's not going to leave to go to United to play Europa League. He's not going to do it. It's not about him. It's not about Ten Hag liking him as a father. He's just not going to go. There's no incentive for him to go.
But you're almost saying it as if he told you he's not going. Do you know what I mean? Just because it says
I'm telling you, it's not hard to deduce this, man. I'm just telling you what
let's understand something here, right? Let's understand something. How's a club like Man United going to stay for 3 months chasing a player if there isn't any indication from the player to say, look, I might come to you guys? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. A team that is very brand sensitive as well. Like, we don't want to.
I understand the emotion behind this, but I'm just telling you that Frankie de Jong is not going to go to Manchester United.
That's fair enough.
There's the reason why Casemiro went to United at the last minute, because they realized that he's a replacement, and he's a good replacement for him. But Frankie de Jong is not going to go to Manchester United.
Wait. Let me get this. Yeah, go ahead.
The reason why is simple, right? They owe him 17 million. They owe him money.
Correct.
Xavi wants him to stay. They're going to figure out a deal for him to stay at Barcelona. he's going to play Europa League for the next 2 or 3 years. It's not happening. It's just not now. Casemiro, get me wrong, I like him. He's a great player. He's won everything he needs to win. There's nothing to prove. He can go to United, make a cash day, and do well. But
this is the interesting thing, though. I 100% agree with you, actually. But I mean, ultimately, we did have the deal could have been done at some point. I understand that Barcelona was being difficult, and we weren't going to ever pay the deferred wages. I don't think Chelsea will as well. The big issue that comes down is I think we're at the point where, but for some reason, I just have this feeling that he's staying at Barcelona. But the problem also then becomes, why are we then trying to invest later in the summer, this Antony news and these little things here or there, which is where we start getting ourselves into trouble. We could have gone Antony for 60 million euros, maybe even less at the beginning of the summer.
Correct.
But now we're going to go put in a 100 million euro bid for Antony. And and I know that this is one, I'm just going off topic a little bit because I actually have to go here in like 7-8 minutes to do my own stream. But the problem with United really is that it's criminally mismanaged. And so when I was having a conversation with Pat on our stream the other day, I was trying to explain, but I'm sandwiched between a City and a Liverpool fan there. I'm trying to explain that all the problems in our club come from the top. People start asking, well, okay, so you have a cultural issue. So how are you going to solve the issues at Manchester United? Isn't that on Ten Hag? That's why they hired him. But then you have on the other side, Joel Glazer's refusing. He's blocking the transfer of Cristiano Ronaldo. And he's basically handing the first. How is a manager supposed to reverse player power when the ownership at the club is basically telling you through their actions, 110%, you don't have the power. The players have the power. And then people are saying, well, it's on Ten Hag to do a cultural reset or set that, in motion. You can't have it both ways. And it bugs the hell out of me that people think, and it's not all rivals. And I understand that you guys listen, and I understand the difference between banter and having real football conversations, as we typically do have on this channel.
Yeah.
Any of your guys' channels. But it's a real problem at Manchester United that isn't something that fans can even solve. It really isn't, because it comes from the top.
Yeah, but are you not happy that they're investing? Like right now, they want to drop 100 piece on Antony, and I've invested 70 on this amazing footballer who some people are saying he's the best DM in the world. One of the best DMs in the world.
You have to understand that this has been 17 years of problems. Yeah, it's simple analogy is a relationship, bro. You know what I mean? If say for example, if your woman's been tired of you cheating, bro, you know what I mean? Even the last few months or last few whatever, you take her out to dinner, you do whatever. If there's a simple indication that you look at another woman, she's gonna be thinking of going. You know what I mean? That is the simple thing as that. Because we've been poorly mismanaged. Yeah, the money's been spent definitely, but what's there to show for it? Who can you say that? Look, we spent a reasonable amount of money and we got something in return. Apart from the time that Fergie left after Fergie. I'm not talking about before Fergie, because when Fergie was there was a structure. And in fact in his book he said, look, I loved the fact that the Glazers allowed me to do what I wanted. The guy is a football man. He built the team from top to bottom. He knew what he was doing, and he had David Gill, probably one of the best director of footballs we had, unofficially anyway. Yeah. So directors of football. So to change that structure from Fergie and David Gill to Ed Woodward and David Moyes is a big step down. David Moyes was playing Football Manager with Man United. Do you know what I mean? He was going on bloody YouTube or whatever, searching players and going, I want that player because he looks good, he's marketable, whatever it is, spending whatever money, not knowing values of players. Do you know what I mean? The Glazers don't even know the offside rule. How are they going to manage a football club? So there's a lot of pain.
Who did David Moyes United fans. Didn't David Moyes only get the guy from Everton who came across with him, that Fellaini?
No, he got
Wasn't
Mata.
He the only one?
He got Mata, didn't he? He got Mata in January. He got Mata in January.
But Mata, you couldn't say that Mata was rubbish. Mata was a two-time player of the season for Chelsea, who were playing good at the time. So I wouldn't say Mata was rubbish. I mean, Fellaini was. But
was he suitable for Man United's system?
Yeah, he wasn't at all a Moyes player.
Was Mata a suitable Man United signing? The whole time he's been there.
What was the system in the first place? That's the question.
Look here, you guys are way after Moyes now to blame Moyes for all the crap that has been happening at Manchester City right now. You guys are wrong for doing that, man.
I think you
Moyes
should.
ain't the problem. Moyes wasn't the problem, and that's why you still have a problem now.
You need to understand what I said. We went from Fergie and David Gill to Moyes and Ed Woodward. All right. Moyes hasn't won a Premier League title. Still, Champions League, nothing.
Neither
right?
Wasn't he picked by Ferguson?
A lot of people came come into management not having won anything. Fergie didn't get to Man United being a serial winner in the PL or anything either.
Champions League,
and if we look at the other managers,
Champions League final with Aberdeen, bro.
Can I just say something real quick about this, because this is important, is that we didn't actually have a footballing structure at Manchester United after Fergie left. Fergie was the structure. He was the club. In a lot of ways, people try to tell me, oh, I've had this question a million times leveled at me. Oh, is Sir Alex Ferguson bigger than the club? No, he's the exact same size as Manchester United because he was the entire club. And so we didn't have a structure. So David Moyes got completely screwed over by Sir Alex Ferguson.
100%.
Because there was no structure to support him at all. We had conversations with Pep at that time, probably Carlo. I think there was one other.
Mourinho too.
Mourinho as well. And they all said, this isn't viable. We can't do this. Like, there's no way I'm coming on here. And in a lot of ways, that's been our downfall, not just because of that, but because 4 years later or 3 years later, we're going after Klopp and nothing had changed. And so now they're trying to change it, but they don't know what they're doing. And they're putting the wrong people in place because they're hiring internally instead of bringing in Ralph. I mean, the moment we hire the right person, we bring in the right person who's transparent, says what we need, open heart surgery. It doesn't take glasses to see that this is what the club needs. And the moment he says that, he pisses off the ownership and they get rid of him. Like, it's a mess. But this is Casemiro. Just before I have to go, Casemiro, very, very good signing, a signing that I would have liked to see before. But do I have any hope that it's going to work out? No, because from the top to the bottom, the entire club is completely rotten. So it doesn't matter what happens, because you'll still have players gobbing off in the dressing room and leaking stuff to the press. Ten Hag is
Maguire.
Ten Hag is screwed. Everyone's screwed until the Glazers leave. So that's my message, anyways. But boys,
thank you very much, Jesse, man. Thank you very much.
Jesse, always a pleasure, Jesse. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, of course. And Wantali and what was your name? Sorry, down bottom.
Hugo. That's Hugo.
Hugo, my man. Yeah. No, I'll chat to you guys later. Make sure to go ahead and like and subscribe, boys. And I'm sure Pat will throw out our channel later on. So cool.
Yeah. He's about to start a stream, guys. I'll throw his channel in the comments so that you guys can be able to go that side. And thank you very much, Jesse. A pleasure, man.
Yeah, boys. See ya.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I just wanted to add a little bit to what he said. I'm a little bit hopeful, not because they've made this investment or whatever it is. They've at least backed the manager. Like, okay, not enough, but they're giving him players. Do you know what I mean? He needs players. Like, he's probably gone there and said, listen, I'm dealing with Fred, McTominay, and I've got Maguire at the back, whatever it is, right? And they've gone, you know what? We'll give you something better. You want De Jong, but we'll give you something a little bit better, What I want to see is players like Casemiro. I hope this is not just the one that we get. If we get a few more players like him and get rid of the McTominays, the Luke Shaws, and these guys, it will change something in the team. Because if Bruno Fernandes was able to come in and just lift people up a little bit, imagine bringing players like that, 3 or 4 players like that in one window who can sort of, show the team that, look, man, put a shift in and you might actually win a game, It's quite important to have those type of players. That's what I think.
There's a question here, though. It says, can someone explain how this makes sense?
It makes sense.
Talking about Houston and
it makes sense for them, right? Because but Fred,
your mic sounds like you're beating it, man. Yeah, now it's better. Yeah.
Okay. It makes sense, right? Because McFred has no business being in the top 4. No business. Let's be fair.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
No business being there. It's terrible. Okay. Unless they're playing Leeds United and they run around the whole place and do what they need to do. You need a cultured number 6 or double pivot or in that midfield to help them out. Casemiro is one of such players. Now, if you pair Fred and Casemiro, now we're cooking. Because now you have the work rate of Fred, who's younger, who can run around, and then the discipline and intelligence of Casemiro, who can help in that midfield provide the anchor. Right? So it's undoubtedly a much better move for them. And I really hope that they play him on Monday against Liverpool, because I want to see what he does in that game against Liverpool.
If he's registered in time, isn't it? If he's registered in time.
He had to have been registered by today, so I don't know. It's a bit too close to call.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I would have loved to see him play in that game because I think you offer something to them that
the visa's not done.
Before.
Can you bring up Big Morgan, please? Big Morgan, you might want to go to Transfer Market and go and have a look at his injury record. He doesn't miss a lot of games. He plays over 2,000 minutes per season. You know, he's played every game in the Champions League, every game last season. You know. He's not injury prone. That's the first thing I looked at, you know, because a DM, you need them week in, week out, every game, pretty much 2 games a week. And he's definitely not injury prone, you know, definitely not.
What about Hugo? Hugo, what's your say on this? Because I know you were answering back with the 2 lads there, but what's your say? Let me get your say. As soon as you saw the news saying the great Casemiro, one of the best DMs in the world, as one of the United fans commented in the DM saying he's one of the best DMs in the world, which is true, going to Man United. It shocked me this morning, to be honest. I thought it was just a spoof. I thought it was a lie. I was like, there's no way this is happening, because regardless of the fact that they've got Kamavinga and what's his name? Chumeni. I thought that Casemiro was to stay because leadership for the kids to learn from. So what was your reaction and what do you think, honestly, your honest opinion on this Casemiro to United?
Well, Casemiro, if anyone thinks that Casemiro is a bad buy, they don't know football, right? Casemiro is a good buy regardless of whichever team he had gone to in the Premier League, right? So not because it's Manchester United, people who are anti-Manchester United should come out and say bad things about Casemiro. Now, what will he be able to do is a different thing. And I hear the United fan on the program now talking about it, which is true. Their biggest problem is not what they just dealt with by getting Casemiro, but it's one of the problems, right? The biggest problem is still there. So then Ten Hag needs to make a decision. How is he going to ensure that the line behind Casemiro is fit enough to get the best out of Casemiro? And that may have to start by putting Harry Maguire on the bench or putting Harry Maguire back to training with the Eds or something. All right? It's just a fact, right? It's not going to work out. I'm a City fan, which you know already, Patrick. And we have this guy who's a City fan that was going on when we wanted somebody to replace Vincent Kompany. And we're like, Harry Maguire. But what I didn't look at is how Harry Maguire was playing at Leicester City is because of how Leicester City was set up, right? Not like how the real big clubs are set up. You get what I'm saying? He can't play with the ball, right? Yes, he's a threat on set pieces and that type of thing, but his main job is to defend. And the man cannot defend at all. He's just not a defender. He's tall. He's built like a defender, but he doesn't have the skills of a defender. You understand? That's just the fact of it. Luke Shaw, also somebody who was very overrated when Man United bought him, right? And they need to look at on the lateral sides of the defense also. They need to see what they can do there. It may not be perfect, but I believe that the other defenders that they have there, as long as they're fit, they need to throw them in instead of Maguire. See what they can do. The fact is, I think they play the ball better. So if Casemiro can get something going with them, then something will work out. Up front, Man United is still going to need, if they're going to play Ronaldo at center forward, right? They're gonna need to have him doing less of that tracking that a Ten Hag may want him to do, right? With Casemiro understands that. You understand? And Casemiro won't be straying from midfield. That's one thing. You ain't going to get Casemiro going up there passing Bruno and them to try and go up. Sometimes you'd have Fred and McTominay them straying a little bit because they don't understand what they're supposed to do. These guys spoke about it. Positional play, right? That's what Casemiro is a master at. Good? So what that means now is that Ronaldo can stay up there. But then again, on the wide now, Ten Hag is going to have to find out who the best guys are for him, and he's going to have to get those there. I think the guy they're missing right now, that young Greenwood, with what he was coming with, I think would have been a better option for them now than what they have now, right? fell into all that crap. So, you know, it's what it is. It's just their bad luck. You get me? But Rashford wide, Martial wide, the problem with them is that it's too much hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. There's no consistency there, right? And those guys, they kind of were just being hyped because they were playing for Manchester United, right? Because the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of other players. They are not top. They're not top 4 in any of their positions. That's what you look at, you know. Because if a team is going to get into it, the team has to be made up of top 4 players in their positions for the team to get to top 4. And I guess what Manchester United is trying to do now is to get into top 4 first of all, because they won't be challenging this season. So they just want to get back to Champions League football, right? And with this now, I don't know if they're able to find a couple of young players too. It's better to get out these rotten eggs and put some of those in. Will Ten Hag have the heart and the courage to go and do something like that? You understand? Because hey, it's something that even Ferguson used to do too, but it's something that all the top managers do. You understand? Klopp found Alexander Arnold from nowhere. You get what I'm saying?
So
Pep knew that Foden was already there when he came in. They said, "Hey, we have a kid. You need to look at him." United now need to find somebody again who would not be rotten, who can deal with what they need to deal with in the club. Somebody who they're paying £50,000 a week or something like that. Because these guys with their big ego, they're collecting their check and not doing anything. Casemiro though, I'd pay him whatever he wants because at the end of the day, he's not gonna be there just collecting money. That guy has pride, man. Remember, he was bought by Real Madrid for $5 million. So he doesn't have that thing in his head, you know, like, oh, I'm this and I'm that or whatever. You know what I mean? So I think it's a good signing, Patrick.
There's another aspect of this that people always forget. And, you know, I'm not one of those fans who just goes on and trolls. I look at things, I try to look at things objectively, right? United have 2 paths to get to Champions League. There are 2 paths. One is top 4 and the other is the Europa League. Now, if you're a smart man, right, you're betting on United winning the Europa League, especially if they have good players coming in like Casemiro and other good players. They're probably one of the picks. So the question now becomes, if United win the Europa League, they see their team in next year's Champions League. Why would I kill myself, smash myself, to win the Premier League against Liverpool, against City, against Chelsea, against Tottenham, when I know that the easier path for me, frankly, to get Champions League is Europa League, which they are well placed to do. So you have to look at things from that whole perspective, right? What's the objective? The objective for the club is to make sure they compete or to get to Champions League. And there are 2 paths to do that. The 2 paths to do that.
That's a good...
Sorry. Go ahead, Antali, go ahead.
No, you carry on. I'll come up.
Yeah. So, you know, that's how I like to look at football, right? Okay, you know, where are we right now? What are the options? What's our objective? What's our target? Our target, clearly, every team's target right now is Champions League football. City, Liverpool, United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. That's the goal. That's the number 1 goal. Winning the Premier League is a bonus. The focus is UCL. Because without UCL, you have problems. Money, players, you name it, in the future. United have 2 paths. Okay, City have 1 path, which is top 4. United have 2, unless City win the Champions League again. But that's infinitely much harder than it is to win Europa League. So we have to look at things from a football perspective as to what are the targets, what do we need to do, what do we need to reinforce ourselves to be able to compete on those 2 paths, which United are probably doing by adding Casemiro. That's kind of what I want to say, Patrick.
So that's a good point. Good point there, Carl.
It's a very, very, very good, very, very good point. I mean, I'll speak as a United fan out of emotion, right?
Yeah. Can you also, as you're speaking, also try jumping into what SSB 28 has just said also?
What did he say?
He says, I wonder if this sign has influence on CR7 leaving and if this is the board way of saying stay.
Do you know what? I actually think so. I actually think that Cristiano as well had something to do with this, because for me it never made sense when they said, look, we're going after Casemiro. It never made sense to me. Like, why is he going to want to come to a team like this? You know what I mean? Why? You know, I know that he's going to play fine, but he's at a team that works, a working formula. He's got a better chance of winning the Ballon d'Or there if he was going for it. You know, like stuff like that. He comes to United. Now there's no trophy. It's going to be a little bit harder. Something happened there. You know, regardless of the money or whatever it is, something happened. And I feel this was part of the reason to get Ronaldo to stay. That's what I think. You know, I think Ronaldo looked at it because think about it. Ronaldo right now, he doesn't have long left. He wants to win something. You know, something. And this is where I was going to go to that Premier League part, because for Ronaldo, the biggest trophy he can go for right now is the Premier League. I don't think he'd fancy the Europa, even though for United, realistically, the Europa is what we should be going for. But as a United fan, emotionally, I would like us to be competing on all fronts. Do we have the squad to do it? We don't, but we have the manager to do it. It will probably take time, and it's unrealistic for me to say, hey, we can challenge for the Premier League this season. It's pretty silly. In fact, just check me into the mental hospital. But with somebody with somebody like Cristiano, like even last season, he was saying, look, top 4 minimum. We should have been challenging, but top 4 minimum. Do you know what I mean? With the mentality of Cristiano, he's going to be thinking that way. This is why he sulks and walks off the pitch and all this business. So yeah, I think there is a relation there. But yeah, I'd like to see United compete on all fronts. And we've never really been a team that just goes, okay, do you know what, we'll focus on one cup. But I would like to see it happen. But the realistic thing is Europa is our best bet, to be honest. So
yeah, Big Morgan says your target is not to go down. Says nobody wants Cristiano.
that guy's a troll.
Morgan is he's a regular here. He comes here. I think he just wants smoke. He's
like me. He's like me. He wants a comment.
This is the quandary. This is the problem of the Premier League, right? This is the problem. And the problem is you have 6 or 7 teams who can win the competition but also finish top 4. So the question now becomes, the Europa League almost adds like what I call a safety valve. Okay, you don't make Champions League, you're not top 4, you're 5th. But then that's the option for you because you're strong enough to win the Europa League to get back to the Champions League. Oh, and by the way, next year, in 2024-25, guess what? It's now 5 teams that can qualify for the Champions League from England because of the coefficient that UEFA's put in place. So all of a sudden now, it's no longer top 4, it's now top 5. Right? Because of the performance of the English teams in Europe for the past couple of years. That's a new rule UEFA's put in place. So all of a sudden, this idea of top 4 no longer is applicable, it's now top 5. It's now top 5. And if you're 6th and you win Europa League, guess what? That's now 6. But there's a rule that you can't have more than 5 in the Champions League. But you get my point, right? The competitive nature of the league itself is creating this snowballing effect of having more teams in the UCL, either through Europa League or now with the new UEFA coefficient as top 5. So it's from a footballing perspective, these are discussions that I like to have about, okay, what are the strengths and weaknesses? I mean, Casemiro is a good buy. Don't get me wrong. He's a fantastic player. Let nobody make any stupid jokes that he's 30 and cool. No. He's a good player. But they need more. They need more around him. They need the right system around him.
Maybe that's why they're going for Anthony. They're going for Anthony. They're trying to throw a bit of 100. Maybe that's why they're doing that.
You need to get into Rashford and Sancho's head. Go get them a shrink. Somehow. These guys have to. No, Patrick, I'm serious, guy.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Give them a shrink or something, mate. Seriously, because Rashford is a quality player. It's in there. Sancho, it's in there. Why aren't they performing? What's going on? Is it the environment? Is it the leadership? Is it the club itself? What's making these guys? Don't forget, Patrick, this is the same team that came second in the league when we played 3 years ago under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
And also beat us.
And never lost a game away. They never lost a game away. They didn't even draw a game away. They won all the games away, 18 games or so, whatever it is.
Under Ole, though, that was the great Ole. By the way, Wantali, Kundo said when you signed Ronaldo that Ronaldo was going to be the downfall of Ole, and it looks like it was true.
He was the problem, Patrick.
He was definitely the problem.
Ronaldo. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had a definite way of playing. He leveraged the strength of the team, which is going to counterattack you to death. You play a high line, we will kill you because we've got pace and power, right? We don't have all your technical skills, but we'll run you to death. That's why they never lost an away game, Patrick. You now introduced Ronaldo with all his clout, and he's great. Don't get me wrong, he's a great guy, but you upset the natural balance that the team has established. Now you have to fit him in. Now it's not as quick, it's not as fast. Issues with the dressing room. And here we are today. Right? It's no surprise that during preseason, United were balling. Why was United balling preseason? There was no Ronaldo playing. He was in Spain or in Portugal. Now he's back.
Blue Studio, wait, just wait. Blue Studio, unfortunately, we're about to end. It's already about to end. I would have sent you the link, but we're about to end.
Gundo, part of the problem, the big part of the problem of last season was definitely Ronaldo. I'll tell you why first. First, it started up here. It started in the minds, okay? These players were like, look, we're doing so well. We came second. Cool. Ronaldo comes in. Second's not enough. We're going for the Prem, right? Now, these are players that up here, they're like, you know what? We're happy where we are. we're happy with the coach lollycutting us or whatever it is. First thing goes bad, everyone drops. Mentality drops. That's the first problem. These guys didn't really. I don't know. I think the pressure got to them. This is what I think. I think the pressure of being around a player that great got
I agree.
to them.
I agree
That's
with
the first. That's the first part. The second part is not entirely because of, I guess, how we played counter-attacking. Because I believe Ronaldo can play in a counter-attacking team. I believe so. You know why? Because if we have quick wingers, right, all Ronaldo needs to do is sprint to the goal and tap the ball in. That's all he's got to do. He doesn't have to press. He doesn't have to. He can just sit there and wait. Literally,
That's true.
make that
That's
sprint,
true.
go in, or even head the ball. I don't think that was the problem. I'll tell you what the problem was. We were struggling to break down small teams. That was the problem, right? So Ollie said, you know what? We're going to start moving up the pitch. We're not going to do what we normally do, sit back. We will move up the pitch. All right. We were terrible at keeping the ball with Ollie. Terrible, because we had Fred and McTominay. What does Fred do? Fred loses the ball. McTominay passes sideways. You know what I mean? Bruno wonder passes. You know why? Because we play counter-attacking football. So we started losing the ball a lot upfield with a Maguire in defense. Guess what happens? Counter-attack goal. Liverpool were beating us terribly at that. They'll get the ball off us. Trent Alexander-Arnold gets the ball. Okay? Salah's opens. Pinged it to Salah already. Gone. Or Mane. Cross to Salah. Goal. That's what was going on. Or Salah beats the last man because Salah loves a one-on-one. You know what I mean? That is how teams unlocked us. This is what I feel was the problem. Ollie had no plan B, and I told Patrick this a long time. He had no plan B. But when he started thinking, you know what, I need a plan B so I can win the trophy, it just went. It went. When the confidence went, doesn't matter what system.
What about this comment, though? What about this comment? It says, I think United should have kept Pogba if they got Casemiro. And then he writes down, SSB writes that Casemiro, Pogba, Eriksson midfield would have been interesting to see.
No. Again, I'll tell you something about, I love Pogba ability. Like United have so many players that have good ability but terrible mentality, and we needed to get rid of Pogba. Sometimes you just need an old-fashioned, I just want to get things done, a Roy Keane type of player. You need a few of those in your team. Not a lot of these talented but can't do nothing. You need a lot of those players that are like, I'm going to win this game. I don't care how. I'm not that great with the tiki-taka skills, whatever, but I know how to get the ball past the net. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, because that's what it's about. And Pogba, for me, he was a Rolls Royce of a player. Definitely. Big fan of the guy. Don't understand the criticism behind it. Well, I do, but it's too much, right? But for United, nah, it just wasn't right for me. That's what I think. It wasn't right. We put too much on the guy. That's how I feel. And in the end, nah, it wasn't the right signing. That's what I think.
Yeah, Big Morgan. What do you mean? What happened to Ronaldo? In what terms? I'm like. What do you mean that he wants to leave, or what happened as a player? I think if you talk about as a player, maybe age has got to him. He's not the same Ronaldo, but also the support system he has is not that great. I would say that. But anyway, guys. So we've spoken about Casemiro. Majority of the guys in the panel says it's a good signing. I as a hater, I hope this turns out as a Varane signing. I hope this doesn't go well for United, because right now I'm enjoying the downfall. So as a hater, as a football man, I would like to have more teams competing as a football man, but as a hater and as a City fan, as the guy from the other side, I would like to see this Casemiro signing come in, and Casemiro adds more vibes and chills in the United midfield. But I don't think he will, because I think him, Varane, and Ronaldo being in that dressing room, I think it'll be different. I think they'll be speaking a different language now. I think Varane will be more confident that I have a defensive midfielder who I know can sweep and look after the midfield, instead of those two clowns. I don't call them two. One clown, McTominay, not Fred. Fred is not a clown. I still rate him. So, guys, I hope it works out. I don't know if Vontan has got anything else to say, or Carl.
Listen, I'm hopeful, but I'm also concerned. It depends on who Casemiro plays with. I think, what's his name? Not Gundog. Somebody else said something. It depends on who he plays around. If you put Luke Shaw, I don't know, McTominay, Maguire, all these players, they're all the type of players that give you the ball and go, do you know what? You deal with it. I'm just going to sit here and wait. Do you know what I mean? But if you have more players that want the ball and are around Casemiro, then he will play well. Because in the Prem, players close you down quickly. Saul Niguez learned this the hard way, and I feel like it's going to take that one stinker for Casemiro, for Eric Ten Hag to realize that, you know what, I just need to flush everything around me. And when I see Luke Shaw play, I'm worried already. I'm like, listen, we're going to concede a goal minimum with Luke Shaw, you know. So I don't know. We'll see.
Master 20 says United misused Pogba, never played him with the proper DM in the prime. But, like, look, what I'm going to say, Master PM, is I like Pogba, but when was it going to end where every time we made an excuse for him, oh, Pogba needs this, Pogba needs that? I was getting tired of listening to that, because every time it's Pogba needs this, or you listen to the media, oh, Pogba needs this. But if he did, even the media got tired where they were like, we've had enough. We have enough. This guy has to show who he is and take football seriously. So Big Morgan apparently was asking that, where's Ronaldo? He played in the last game. He wore the green jersey that looks like the pitch, so maybe that's why you didn't see him, Big Morgan, but he was right there. What were you about to say, Wantali?
Look, with Paul Pogba, right? I remember I used to argue with you a lot. I used to say, there was a point in time, and it was ridiculous. There's a point in time I used to say Paul Pogba is better than Kevin De Bruyne. You know what I mean?
You also say Bruno is better.
That's okay. Let's not get into that argument. Let's not get into it. Bruno had a good season. That was it. I don't know what's going on with him. But Pogba, yeah, I was looking at ability. I'm like, this guy can do more things. I mean, with talent, he can do more things than Kevin De Bruyne can do. But Kevin De Bruyne is good at just consistency, at doing the simple things right. I need to take the ball from here to there. Boom, done. He could do that 100 times and don't miss. Pogba, he'll do it 100 times and get it right twice. Do you know what I mean? He's that sort of player, But when he gets it right twice, everyone's going to write home about it. That's the thing about Pogba. The simple things. He can't even tackle. A professional player like him, he can't tackle. He admitted it. He said, I cannot tackle. I've never learned how to do it. We don't train on doing it. Seriously? Like, how are you going to get the ball back if you can't tackle? Who's going to do it for you? It's an 11 versus 11 type of game. And everyone's like saying he needs a DM. No, he doesn't need a DM. He needs to show up. He needs to get the ball from players. If he's going to be waiting for other players to lift him up, then is he a great player? He's a player who's dependent on people. He's as good as a bloody Cleverley then. Do you know what I mean? Because Cleverley was a good player, but when he's around someone, he was good when he was around someone. Does that make him Cleverley? I don't think so, man. But for me, Pogba, yeah, he's a good sprinkle signing. He's not really a player that you'd say he's going to pull up trees. And I'm not saying because he left United as well. The last few seasons is frustrating. So is what it is.
It was horrible to watch. What about yourself, Carl? Do you have anything to say before we cut off the show? Because we've had three shows.
Yeah, for me, it's just an interesting conundrum to watch what happens, to see how the Ten Hag adapts and changes the team. That's what I'm interested to see. And we've talked about the man as a good manager. We think he's a good manager. The question is now.
Highly.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good manager. He plays good football. I watched his Ajax team in the Champions League a couple of seasons ago, and I enjoyed him the way he played with Frankie de Jong and all these guys out there. David Neres and all these guys, Hakim Ziyech, and they play good football. The question now becomes, will the infrastructure allow him to thrive? That's the big question, right? Will the infrastructure there allow him to thrive? Will the fans allow him to fail but to eventually succeed? That becomes the question.
That's the biggest worry for me. Yeah. Biggest worry for me is the fans. People are already turning on him now. The biggest worry.
Because if he loses on Monday, and let's say he gets a point against Leicester, whatever it is, and he comes to City and he loses, then the fans won't want to remember that, okay, it's going to take time. They're going to put pressure on him. It's a tough one.
But some of the fans were saying that at the beginning of the season. I remember speaking to a few saying we're going to give him time. So I think
it's one thing to say something, but then you lose to Brentford and you lose to Brighton. It's a whole different game. Those are games that you expect to win, right?
Exactly. I mean, look, United fans, they're different types. They're different types of fans, and they're already fans now that are criticizing everything he does. Everything he does. It's his first 2 games. People are like, "Oh, this man doesn't know what he's doing." Well, he's learning he's learning about the team. Like, what do you expect?
It's in a new league too. Yeah,
a new league. The players he doesn't know. Like, what do you expect? You can't be a miracle worker. We've been wank for years. Ten Hag's not just going to turn that around. I give managers normally 2 years. 2 to 3 years. I give Oli 2 years. Figured him out in 2 years. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see what Ten Hag can do. I'm not even gonna criticize him. Whatever. We can finish 8th, and I'm still thinking this guy's the right man for the job. So
yeah, cool. So that's it, guys. We had Jesse, we had Hugo. They had to go. We had the always passionate Carl, and today we had my good friend my good friend Wantali from the 5 Rounds podcast. I've been asking him to come on. He never wanted to come on the True City Fan channel because he said it's full of City fans. But what he likes doing is he goes in the comments and throw, and he's had a few throwing moments before. But anyway, thank you for coming on, Wantali. And Gundo, as always, a pleasure. Guys in the comments, thank you very much.
Pleasure,
Blue
mate.
Studio,
Pleasure.
I told you. Yeah, Blue Studio, as I told you, we're already about it. We've had 3 streams today. My brother, we're tired. I might see you on your stream maybe later on, but for now, man, I need to rest. I also need to cook, man. I'm hungry since I came to work. I haven't ate anything. So, guys, please subscribe to the Football and Chillz podcast. We're doing new things for you. Like as I said, this is just going to be random. Sometimes you find me at 3 a.m. if I wake up thinking of football. I'll come in. I'm not just going to talk about this. Is not just about Man City. It's about everything. I'll talk about everything that's happening in football. I'm also about to talk about Lampard and Gerrard. That is the only reason why they have got their jobs is because they used to be in the English team and they were captains in the other team and they're heroes, because there's managers out there that are starving for jobs, and yet some people are being given jobs. We're going to find out. We'll talk about that. And also, we might also talk about this issue that came in. What's that UEFA thing, Carl?
Which one is that one, Patrick?
The Champions League. The Champions League with Amazon.
Yeah.
So we might
over here in the US, the Paramount and CBS have just won the rights for the next 6 years for Champions League. Literally, they get a.
But they've been great if it is Amazon, isn't it? Amazon for some of us would have been great.
Amazon to the rights to it. They got a 150% increase in sale, in revenue. The award, it's crazy.
We might drop some facts on that, guys. So as you see, we're going to be doing a lot of stuff. We're going to be doing interviews with fellow YouTubers. I've got a few YouTubers that you guys love, big names, good enough. They've said yes. So I'll be doing a few interviews, a lot of stuff. I might bring Wantali back again for us to just have a drink together and just talk rubbish about football. You never know. It depends. So, guys, that's it for now. Subscribe to the channel, like the vid, share the vid with your granny, your dog, your cat, whoever you want to share the vid with. Until next time, guys, all I can say is bye.